back to the doll world, everyone. All right, so right away, I have to say, you guys, thank you so much for just the overwhelmingly positive response I got on my last video. I was not prepared for that, like, in the slightest. From all the amazing comments I got of just, people who were open, receptive, accepting, and, you were sending me your virtual hugs. It was really awesome. Like I said, I was not expecting that. I didn't know, I was flipping the script. I changed the format completely of my channel. I didn't know how it was gonna perform, and man, I couldn't have asked for a better response. Again, thank you guys so much. If you missed it, my last video, I flipped the camera around and I introduced you guys to myself. I told you the story of, my very first doll, how I got into dolls, how I started collecting and all of that kind of stuff. And, I'll be honest with you, it can be a little intimidating getting up here in front of a camera and speaking to how many people I don't know, but then to also kind of like spill my secrets and talk about my passion for collecting dolls and stuff. So it can be a little terrifying, I'll be honest with you, but you guys just made it so much fun that I could not wait to get up here again and do another video for you. I mentioned that I would try to, the best I could, change up my dolls in the background to give you guys something a little bit different to look at. And I also think I'm going to start putting the dolls that I'm going to kind of talk about and reference in my video as we go along, so you can kind of see a little bit of a precursor of what we're going to be touching on. Except for Barbie, I left her there because I love the way she sparkles right there, especially underneath my brand new light I got. And you guys, I'm very excited because I'm going to be getting a new light right there. And it's gonna be just like this one, but it's gonna say Doll World, and I'm really excited about it. So yeah, as I mentioned, if you missed my last video, I kind of introduced myself and told you my whole story and my history. And when I was editing that, I had some ideas. I was like, you know what? I wonder if people are gonna wonder about like X, Y, and Z. I'm at the end of this. Should I get back on camera and add some more and then re-edit? But I was also kind of thinking this video is already 50 minutes long. So I figured I would just wait for the next video. So here we are. I guess you could kind of think of this as kind of like the epilogue of my story, because some of you guys, the questions you had were like, what is the relationship with your parents now? And do they know that you collect dolls now as a grown-up? So we're gonna touch on that. I've got my water here because I'm gonna be talking for a bit. Again, this is probably going to be one of those videos where, watch for the dolls, I guess, but for the most part, you can probably just kind of tune out and watch this, play it in the background while you're cooking dinner, cleaning your house, what have you. 2 comments I got in that video really were like, it was interesting. I figured I would use those to kind of kick this video off. One of them was the fact that when my sister opened her doll on Christmas, and it was, an American Girl doll that I wanted, one of you mentioned that it was a good thing that it wasn't Molly, because that would have been salt in the wounds, that would have been the ultimate blow. And I agree with you. I do think that is true. But also, one of you mentioned that it's a shame that it wasn't Molly, because then you would have at least had Molly in your house and you could have played with it. Well, here's the deal with that. And then here is a little bit of the story that I forgot to include. So it's Christmas morning, and there we are. My sister gets the American Girl doll that I wanted, and I'm crushed, and my sister couldn't have cared less about this doll. So a few days later, I wanted to play with the doll, and my sister was like, yeah, you can have her, I don't care. I'm like, yes, awesome. So I take the doll into our playroom, and I started having a little tea party, because of course I did, right? I'm in there just having a grand old time, and I hear my mom come upstairs, and I hear her go into my sister's room. And I'm kind of like waiting. I hear her ask my sister, where's your Samantha doll? And my sister was like, well, Mike has it. And I was just like, oh God, right? And so I hear my mom coming down the hall. I'm like bracing for impact, right? My mom walks in without a word, like just complete silent. And she just bends over, picks up the doll, and takes her away. Doesn't say a thing, just takes Samantha away, puts her back into my sister's room. And I was just like, oh, okay. So this is how it's gonna go. Yeah, I wasn't even allowed to play with the doll that we had in our house. So daggers. So of course it begs the question, like, well, what's your relationship with your parents now? Like, wow. Here's the funny thing. Honestly, you guys, that was so long ago. At this point, it's water under the bridge. I got over it. I don't care. I know it's a story that a lot of us can relate to. We've all been in that situation. And not that I'm like making an excuse for them, but this was a long time ago. It was a different time. And my parents were just probably not ready to have a kid like me. And they weren't expecting it, I'm sure. And they probably just didn't really know how to deal with it. They're like, oh my gosh, our boy plays with dolls. And I'm sure they weren't thrilled whenever I wanted to take one out and, we were out in public with it. Or if they would catch me in the Barbie aisle at the toy stores. It was, it was a different time, and it's water under the bridge now. I actually have a very good relationship with my parents. I see them pretty regularly. I'm probably going to go see my mom actually for lunch, probably next week or something like that. So yeah, the next question was, well, do they know that you are into dolls now, that you have a doll collection, that you have a channel on YouTube? The short answer is no, but I do have suspicions that they may suspect I do. Because, get this, for all those years, my mom collected and kept every one of the catalogs from Pleasant Company days to American Girl. She has this just enormous box of catalogs, right? And about 2 years ago, she was like cleaning out her house, thinning everything out. I don't know. Downsizing, I guess you could say. And she asked me point blank, she's like, oh, here's the box of all the old American Girl catalogs. Do you want them? And I'm just like, I can't begin to tell you how many thoughts like raced through my head in like that 0.5 seconds, because I didn't want to seem like too eager, right? I'm kind of like, is this a test? In my head, I'm like, yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh, I would love to leaf through these old Pleasant Company catalogs. But yeah, I wanted to play it cool. I wanted to play aloof, I didn't want to seem too, I didn't want to give the game away. So I was just kind of like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll take them, I guess. I'll take them off your hands. So who would have thought all these years later, my mom needed to get rid of the American Girl catalogs, and I was the first one that came to mind, apparently. But what was really interesting as well is that I don't remember the circumstances exactly, which is unfortunate because it wasn't that long ago. But I guess I was talking to my mom about the doll collection that she used to have. And in a minute, I'll go over and kind of tell you everything that she had purchased over the years. But I guess I had been talking about Addy with her or something, and she was just like, oh, okay, well, I'll have to go look for her or something, and I wasn't expecting anything from it. But when I was at her house just this last Christmas, she was like, hey, you were asking me about the Addy. Do you want to go into the kids' room and just go look for you? You can have her if you want. So yeah, we're apparently at the point where my mom is just like giving me her old dolls. I'm like, okay. So that's why I say I have suspicions. I'm like, I'm sure she's probably like, yeah, he probably has some dolls at home. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. It's a conversation I don't really want to have with her. It's interesting though, because my mom actually couldn't find Addy. We don't know what happened to her, but you may have noticed her in the back. Oh, I guess I'll take this opportunity to let you guys know. I decided, hello, let's celebrate Black History Month. It should be celebrated. So I pulled out my dolls that I think we should celebrate and take a look at today. So I guess we'll start with Addy, since I'm kind of on that talk track. Here she is. Now, this is not the Addy that I was talking about that my mom had. And she's not an original Pleasant Company. This is actually the Addy that American Girl just released. I think it was just this last year, right? It wasn't that long ago. I missed out on that whole release of the 35th anniversary when they brought back all the original girls, because I had blew my whole stash on getting all of Courtney's stuff. So I was like, I wasn't prepared for all those awesome dolls to come out from my childhood. So I totally missed out. So I'm loving that we're seeing them yet again. I am a big fan of repros. As much as I love to have like the original Pleasant Companies or, the original release of things, I do love a good repro, especially if it's going to be like faithful to the original costume, outfit, and accessories. So I always thought Addy was just absolutely gorgeous. I love her earrings. You can't really see them because I've got her bonnet on. But I also love her color scheme. Now, I am not a huge fan of like pinky pink on everything, but it just works so well for her with her skin tone and then with the blue of her little bonnet tie. I just love this look so, so much. So I knew, especially because like my mom couldn't find her Addy doll. She had the dress and she was like, do you want the dress? And I was like, well, I really want the Addy doll. But so I'm really, really glad that though my mom couldn't find hers, you know, it would be literally just a few short weeks after that, they wound up releasing her. So it was like perfect timing. So yes, Miss Addy, and I guess I'll take this opportunity to kind of tell you about the dolls that my mom collected because interesting story. So my mom had obviously, or rather my sister had the Samantha doll. My mom had the dress patterns and she made a few of the outfits. I don't remember exactly how many of the outfits from Samantha's collection that she actually purchased, but I do know she does have the original Samantha steamer trunk. And you guys, that is such a gorgeous piece. I absolutely love it. And it was old school days. It actually, my mom still had, it's got like the Pleasant Company, the plaque on it. Because I think at some point they changed to where it just said like the American Girls collection. My mom's says Pleasant Company. And, you know, my sister didn't want it. She didn't care. And so it just kind of sat in my mom's closet for all these years untouched. So you guys, how many years later, my mom is holding on to a Samantha trunk with a Pleasant Company plaque and it is in minty mint condition. So I've definitely got my eye on that for someday. But my mom would order a handful of outfits, not really too much on the accessories, but a handful of outfits. And then I think it was in 1995 when American Girl put out The Girl of Today, where you could create and customize a doll that looked like you. Once again, for whatever reason, my mother thought my sister would want this. So my mom ordered a doll that looked like my sister. And of course, my sister didn't care. She was like, cool, mom, looks great, bye. And so, but you know, I wasn't allowed to touch it. I wasn't allowed to play with it. So my mom's been holding on to it. So she had that, she had Addy, and my mom also had a pretty decent collection of like Bitty Babies and all that kind of stuff. I am not a Bitty Baby person. I never have been, and I'm not today. So I don't really care about that. And then, I think that's really it. I know my mom bought some dolls for my nieces. I know Kit was a thing in our family for a bit, but here's where it gets kind of disappointing. My mom let the girls, like my nieces and stuff, just kind of not only play with the dolls, but just kind of like scatter them around. They're like all over the place. They got to take them home. They got to take them to school, all this kind of stuff. It's very unlike my mom that she would allow that, but she did. And so now when you go into that kids' room where my mom's got all of her collection, it's very hodgepodge. I don't think there's one outfit that's complete in there. I remember when I was going through it, like I said, we have Addy. We don't have the Addy doll, but we have her dress. And I know I found Kit's sweater in there, but that was the only piece. So it's very like, there's just not much in there. And the stuff in there is a little tattered. It's very much loved. The exception, however, being that Samantha trunk that I'm telling you now, I'm calling it. I'm going to have that one day. So here is another one of my dolls. You have probably seen this pretty lady before because she's one of the main stars of my Doll World Holiday Special. And this is Olivia Oseman. If you didn't know, I'm a huge fan of alliteration. So let me tell you the story about her. She was a doll I purchased off eBay, and she was coming straight from the doll hospital. Now, I've never sent any of my dolls to the doll hospital, so I wasn't entirely sure what to expect when she arrived. But in fact, I don't even know why she went to the hospital. I didn't ask the seller. I just assumed if she's coming straight from the hospital, she'll be fine. And she really was, you guys. I unboxed her and she was so cute, as you can see. She didn't have any of these clothes, obviously. She came with like she had the little wrist tag and the hospital gown, and I think she had a balloon as well. Like I said, I've never sent a doll to the hospital, so I was actually kind of excited to not only get a new doll, but to have all those like hospital accessories. But she was perfect to me when I opened her, and I bought her because of the hair. The hair is just, it's got so much character. It's just so cute. I just love it. And so I added the glasses to her, and I looked at her and I was just like, yeah, she looks like an Olivia to me. So coming up with her last name, I went with Oseman because at the time I was like really obsessed with Heartstopper. So I thought like Alice Oseman, the creator of Heartstopper, that'll be perfect. So Olivia Oseman, as I mentioned, I'm a fan of alliteration. But yeah, isn't she super cute? Her backstory is that she is a writer. She's very, very smart. And I really love the outfit that I kind of assembled here. It's actually, I think it's all one piece. I think these little sparkly jelly shoes came with these gold leggings, this shirt, which has got the headphones, and then I just added this jacket to it. I found this jacket on eBay for a song. And so I just thought it looked really good together. So yeah, so here she is. This is Olivia. I also mentioned in my last video, and I forgot to touch on it, was that there was a little bit of drama with the American Girl store we had here in Phoenix. So here, it's one of those stories where it's like, you know what? Why does it got to be like that? Are you serious? So we had an American Girl store here in Phoenix, and from where I live, it was probably maybe 45 minutes away. So in the grand, you know how sparse these stores are. So having a store that was just 45 minutes away was nothing, right? Now, I only ever got to go to this American Girl store one time, and that was back in 2017 with the release of Logan Everett. I touched on this in the last video. And I wanted to be there on day one. I wanted to go get him, bring him home. And I was so uncomfortable because I was so out of my element. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a grown man at the American Girl store. I could not get out of there fast enough. So I didn't get to really appreciate that store for what it was. And I have so much regrets about that because it wouldn't be until the release of Courtney, which was at the end of 2020. That's when the American Girl floodgates really opened for me. And that was when I was like, I want to go to the American Girl store. I want to see her whole collection on display. I'm into this now. Let's do it. I love it. I've got a store right in my backyard. This is amazing. I remember I got online and looked because I wanted to see if they were open. I want to make sure the hours were going to be okay. I didn't want to waste 45 minutes driving up there and find out it was closed. And I remember seeing the green letters on their site. It said open. And I was like, perfect. It's open till like 6 o'clock. That's great. I was so excited. So I get there and I'm very excited because there it is. I see the marquee, the big display. It's like American Girl. I was so excited. This is an outdoor shopping mall, by the way. And as I get closer, I'm like, oh, it looks really dark in there. Sure enough, I get there. It's closed. And I was like, really? Okay. I was like, oh no. So I'm like, I do one of these things, like I'm peeking into the window and I can see, they still had the banners and posters, signage in the windows. I could see product on the shelves. And I'm like, are you serious? Did I just happen to come up here on an off day or something? And of course, I was like, the website said it was open. But then I noticed that there was no Courtney signage, nothing. It was all kind of like older stuff that had been advertised previously in the year. One of their big things in the window was a big Joss display. Remember, she was the girl of the year at that time. And that's when it kind of set in. And so I found like a guy who worked in the area and I was like, hey, question for you. Do you know, is the American Girl store closed? And he was just like, oh yeah, they closed for COVID and I don't think they're reopening. And I was like, and sure enough, it would be just a few weeks later, maybe a month later, our local news stories did a story where it was like, oh, the American Girl store is closed. They're not reopening. And I was just like, you've got to be like, what are the odds? Like how many years this American Girl store was just, like I said, in my backyard, never went because I wasn't into it. And now that I'm into it, it's closed. Like, just super, super disappointing. So as of right now, believe it or not, though I live in Arizona, I actually go to the Orlando store the most often. My family, we're big Disney people, so we go to Disney World pretty often. And every time we're there, I always make a pit stop at the Orlando American Girl store. So that's kind of like my home base, I guess you could say. And I'm very excited because I'm going there this weekend. So if it's not super busy, I may do a vlog at the store and kind of do a walkthrough because, I love watching someone walk through the American Girl store and just seeing the displays, seeing what's set up, seeing what's out and the inventory. It's just fun. So like I said, if it's not super busy, maybe I'll take my my phone with me and we'll do a quick little vlog, something different and just kind of catch up and see what's going on at the American Girl store. You would think, living in Arizona, that my store would be LA, but it's not because we just don't make our way on the West Coast very often. But I have been there a few times. It's a gorgeous store. I do have to say I liked when it was at the Grove better, but what are we gonna do? The new LA store is really gorgeous. I love going there, and they have the full cafe. And I was so excited because for my last birthday last year, we went and had brunch there, and it was so fun. We went all out. I brought Chip with me. Here he is. We saw Chip in the last video, and he's kind of like my little spokesman, right, for this channel. But he got to go with me, and we had a great time. Okay, I'm just gonna be honest with you. The food is like, okay. Don't go for the food. Go for the experience. Go for to have a good time with your doll. Have a good time shopping. It's a lot of fun, you guys. And they even have cocktails for grown-ups. Just a lot of fun. And I do have a fun story that I wanted to share real quick from that because it was so sweet. We got there early. Like, they had not actually opened the restaurant yet. We went for shopping, and then we just waited upstairs in that kind of like little book nook area. I think we've all seen pictures of it on Instagram. That's kind of where they have you stand and wait for your reservation time. And while we were waiting, there was another family in there with us, and it was a mom and dad, brother and sister. Little girl obviously had a doll, but what I really noticed was I noticed that the little boy had one too. And they both had the little carriers, you know, the little backpack carrier where it looks like they had the American Girl box. And the little boy had Truly Me number 104. Here is my 104 in the doll world. His name is Zach. And I point it out because the little boy had blonde hair. So this was a perfect doll for him. So I definitely think it was not just, I think it was his doll, which I have to say, that is so sweet. And I when I saw his parents, I was like, that is awesome. You know I keep saying this, but if you saw the last video, you know my story. And like, it's so heartwarming to see parents today who are like totally cool with, okay, you have a little boy, he wants to play with doll, whatever. I don't care. I just want my kid to be happy. And it was just really sweet to see. But yeah, these two little kids had their little dolls at the American Girl Store Cafe and having a great time. And it was just, way to go, mom and dad. I noticed. Way to go. If it's not apparent already, I am a huge fan of the boy dolls that American Girl has released. I have heard rumors that they may be discontinuing them because they don't sell well. I don't know if that's true. I hope it's not, but I wouldn't be surprised. But I can't help but wonder if American Girl had been putting out boy dolls when I was a kid, maybe my parents would have been more accepting and maybe I could have gotten one. I don't know. We'll never know. But yeah. So with that, we'll take a look at another one of my boy dolls. This is one of my favorites. His name is Bram, and he is, I'll be honest with you, I don't remember his number. So I'm sorry, I'll put it on the screen for you. But in the doll world, he is known as Bram, and his name comes from the character in the movie Love, Simon, because I kind of thought he looked like him. Plus, I also thought that was a cool name. So this is Bram, and as you can see, he's all dressed up for his Ravenclaw. He's in the Ravenclaw, I was going to say Hogsmeade, not Hogwarts. But you guys, I am obsessed with his hair. I love the hair, but I also love the way it's cut. It's just such a great design, and it just works so well with his face. Like I said, he is one of my favorites. I absolutely love this doll. Okay, so apparently I have too many favorites because I was just about to say this is another one of my favorites, and we all know this lady here. This is Miss Melody, and she is, oh my God. I remember seeing the picture when she first got released. I'm pretty sure it was the one where she has the hat and the glasses are kind of like coming down, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is so adorable. But that was the time when I didn't really want to collect dolls because I was like, oh, this is kind of weird, but here we are. But here she is. I do have a funny story about her. She was one of my earlier Facebook Market finds. Now, I am a creature of habit and I'm kind of old school. So if there is something I want that I know I'm going to have to go to the resale market, I immediately go to eBay because that's just what I know. And my friend was like, Mike, you got to go to Facebook Marketplace. There is so much good stuff there. And I was kind of like, oh, okay, whatever. So one day I get on Facebook Marketplace. You guys, I can't even begin to tell you the stuff I find on Facebook Marketplace. It is now my go-to. It is unreal. I don't know if it's the area I live in, but I can't begin to tell you how many things I have found that have been in like brand new in the box, or it comes from an adult collection. So it was only used for display, smoke-free, pet-free home, all that. and they just want cost. I'm just like, oh my gosh. Because as we know, American Girl, it for the most part increases in value, especially if it's something that's been discontinued. And so one of my biggest finds was the Joss Volkswagen bus. And I did not get into that until it was already gone. And if you have ever tried to look for that on the resale market, it is outrageous how much people want for that thing, especially if it's brand new in the box. I go on Facebook Marketplace, I found this woman who had it, had opened it, but she decided not to keep it. And she wanted $700 for it. Now, $700, don't get me wrong, that's a lot of money. But if you bought it from American Girl, I think it was $750. And like I said, this was after it had been discontinued for a good long while. So I was like, oh my goodness. I go over to this woman's house. It was still had the bus. It was like she had literally taken out of the box, and that was it, because it still had the plastic wrap over it. The doors still had the tape on it. And inside, all of the accessories were still wrapped in those like plastic bundles. I was like, I'll take it. Knock on wood, the luck I have in my area, because I know it's different for everyone, but the luck I have on Facebook Marketplace is unreal. So having said that, the story of Miss Melody here is someone was selling her brand new in the box on Facebook Marketplace, never opened. They wanted $50. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'll be right there. So it was a little bit of a drive. It was maybe like 50 minutes up north, but I was like, $50 for a brand new Melody, I'll take it. And I get there, and the story was really funny because the lady comes out. She's like, here she is. I'm like, this is great. Thank you. She was like, yeah, I'm glad you like her. I'm glad she's going to a good home. My son's school had a raffle and he won, and the prize was an American Girl doll, and he didn't want it. So I thought that was kind of funny. I was like, okay, well, I'll take her. So yeah, here she is. I love her hair. So I have mentioned this before. I am terrible at doing doll hair. I wish I was better. So anytime one of my dolls has a cute hairstyle, it's because either my niece or my friend did the hair, and my friend did this hair here. So I guess I should have saved him for last because the story for this one isn't as interesting, but here is this little guy here. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a name for him, and that is because I got him when he was being clearanced, and I wanted to have all the boy dolls. As I mentioned, I have an affinity for them because I can only imagine what my life could have been like, what my childhood could have been like if I had had one. But I got him at a time when I was ordering a lot, and there was just so much coming in, and I didn't have the ability to just like, I didn't have the time to just unbox everything. So and he was on clearance, and I didn't want to miss him. So I'm like, oh, I'll get him. And so when he arrived, he kind of sat in his box for a long while because like I said, I just couldn't get to unboxing everything. And then I opened him, I did change his outfit, but then it was like, okay, I got to move on to the next thing. And so I never gave him a proper name. So I am open to suggestions. If you have a cool name for him, let me know in the comments down below, because he needs a name, guys. He needs a name. But those are the dolls that I thought I would take a look at in celebration for Black History Month, because I think it's important to celebrate that. I have a confession to make, however, though, and that is, and I guess I'll end the video with this. This is actually the second time I have recorded this video because I tried to record this like a couple days ago, and you guys, I was rambling, and I was just, I had no real good talk track, and I felt like the video was just going to be this like huge mess, and I was like, this is going to be a nightmare to edit. But one of the things I decided to do was I decided to do an unboxing live on camera, and it didn't go nearly as well as I had wanted it to, because I am the kind of person that like, my hat is off to those people like Diz Blaine. He does this a lot where he will actually tell his stories while he dresses a doll. I can't do that, you guys. My brain just will not let me do it. For me, that is kind of like, the tap your head, rub your belly. I could never do it, still can't do it. And so if I tried to dress a doll and tell the story, it would be a nightmare video. My doll would be sitting there idle the entire time, or I'd get the doll dressed and I just wouldn't be talking on camera. I'd be concentrating on that. So it didn't go well. And I was just kind of finagling, and I really didn't like it. But I unboxed the community center table and chairs. And you guys, it was such a cute set. I love the little faux wood top. And I love how it had like the little, like, it kind of looks like it was like made of like reclaimed wood, right? They're trying to give it that impression. But having gone through it and kind of looked at the footage, I think what I'm going to do going forward is when I do an unboxing, Like I'll start the video off like this and you'll get to see me and I'll greet you guys and all that kind of stuff. But then when it's time to get down to business and we're gonna unbox, I'm gonna flip the camera and go back into my traditional format, or my original format, because it just works better for me. And I can be a little bit more focused. And also I really want the focus on my unboxings to be all the accessories and everything that we really want to look at. I'm sure it's no surprise, many of you are probably the same way. If there's something I want from American Girl, but I'm kind of on the fence on, I will go on YouTube and see if someone did an unboxing. And a lot of the videos are kind of like this, which is great, but I feel like this works really great for like the outfits or a new doll and stuff like that. But when it comes to the play sets and they have like lots of little accessories, sometimes those things get lost. And it seems like it's always those little accessories are the things that I'm like really wanting to see. I know that sometimes they'll do the thing where they'll like, okay, again, here's this and blah, 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 and like, it just doesn't work for me. Like if it works for you, that's great. I love it. But I wish I could see something a little bit more. Like I really want that focus, because like I'm always, for whatever reason, when it comes with the play set, there's always like some little accessory that I'm really interested in. And that's the accessory that gets glossed over in the video. And then I'm like, oh man, darn it. So I thought to myself, if I ever make a channel, I'm gonna flip the camera around. I want the focus to be on the accessories and everything. And so that's what I'm doing here. So, but yeah, we'll do this from time to time. I think this is great. Like I said, I'll kick off the videos with this, but when it comes to the unboxing, we're gonna get that camera in there so you guys can really see everything. Well, I think I have rambled on long enough. If you're still watching, thank you. I love you. This is actually, like I said, this has been so much fun. It's been so freeing to do this, and I really enjoy spending time with you guys and putting these videos out, sharing my collection, and I'm so glad that you guys are enjoying it. If you liked this video, it would mean the world to me if you would hit that subscribe button, maybe think about ringing that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and maybe giving this video a thumbs up. You guys are the best. Wishing you all well, take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time in the doll world.